What is up, my friends? This is the Protect Your Neck podcast. I'm your host, Dan Tom. Analysis work you can find over at MMA Junkie as well as the ActionNetwork.com. But on this here program, the Protect Your Neck podcast, we break down high-level MMA in a slightly different way. Nothing to really look forward to this weekend. Of course, I'm recording it on a Saturday as opposed to a Thursday. Been a bit of a crazy week. Apologies. I know there's I forgot the old Saudi Arabia sports wash is going on right now. Big boxing card. Usually don't see them stacked like that. But again, whether it be through boxing or even the UFC coming up this next year, I think we're all going to be familiar with that term. Regardless, what a way to start this show, Dan. What a way to piss off the demographic of MMA. Because, keep politics out of sports, despite, we'll recap UFC 296. And again, like I kind of always say, even though it's us media that usually get the bag for, interjecting the politics. Boy, do these pay-per-views. Shout out to Bill Burr. Feel like it's like the Republican National Convention every time. But we had for an entertaining card, perhaps toward the end. The prelims started pretty hot. We'll check the timestamps if you're listening in the future, of course. That's going to be the focus of the show. So I'll timestamp when that starts. We're going to use the beginning of the show, though, to not get off track, but just to kind of tie up ends. We're going to, recap year-end results before we recap the fallout and, individual final card results for UFC 296. Thank you all for joining me, by the way. Great to see you guys. Jimmy Kudo in the house. The moderators with the mostest there, Ghostus, of course, Makoto Kayagoku, who I'm going to give you an extra shout there for contributing, one of many contributing to potential neckies, which we'll also cover here as well. But yeah, we're going to, recap, my prospects piece, main card picks, betting results, so analysis, forecasting, all the different kind of beats and hats that I wear as an analyst, which is a silly title. And as we see, with the award shows, that just happened, with Fighters Only and some Karate Combat. I did go to Karate Combat, didn't go to the award show. And of course we had the fight. So it was a big fight week. It was pretty crazy. And, everybody feels like they're getting sick. And, I think between like going crazy on the workout schedule, finally getting that consistency I've been working toward and getting healthy, maybe burning the candles at both ends, and whatever I was struggling with sinus infection wise came roaring back. Especially after, like, we were joking at Karate Combat with the way it was packed in. We're like, yeah, even people that travel like normally on the beats and stuff, like shout out to my guy Jose Young, from MMA fighting, and other people who actually like travel. Even, it's bad when they're like, yeah, if I'm gonna get sick, it's here. I'm like, dude, you travel all the time for this UFC beat for your work. But yeah, they definitely packed it in over at Karate Combat. Was fun. Was nice to see familiar faces, though. Maybe we'll talk about that. You guys, of course, can pitch your questions. You can direct the show. Keep me in line, maybe. Of course, you guys can contribute. Subscribe, like. It's all appreciated. It does help. The show could use it because, results-wise, even like when we're going to get into, Amazon shouts and listener stuff as well. Got the list here actually up for you guys. I'm actually prepared. But yeah, man, I was just even looking like there are no new iTunes reviews. Perhaps there's been new 5-star ratings, which is fine if you guys don't want to burn the calories to write the review or don't feel comfortable with that. But the 5-star ratings definitely help because it's a good way to kind of start it. Let's start it with a little bit more love from the house. I want to shout you guys and actually get you guys on the screen here. We got Jimmy Kudo 598, my man. So appreciative of you guys. I really want to giving you guys your shouts. Makoto Kayagoku, thank you for hanging out again and shouting contributions. What a way to end the year to be on your show, Dan. Ghost, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys showing up. It's a weird start time today. Again, it just been sick fighting it from all angles and stuff. And Merry Christmas, DT. All the best for a prosperous 2024, brother. Did you guys already celebrate Christmas over there in Australia? How does the time work? How far are you guys ahead? Yeah, I was hoping to make it down there too as well. And again, my travel plans are going to be postponed. It's probably more looking like Thailand, but if I do well, maybe I will do Australia because I can get down there for really cheap. It's more just money, like it is for all of us. I'm no different, folks, So it's that whole game. James Kendrick, this is gonna be an awesome show. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually recapping on a winning week, which is great. So I definitely will try not to get too dour in the recap, but I do need to give a whole year, kind of recap. It's kind of deserved due as we lead into the 296. But again, this show is as much about you guys as it is about me, especially at this point. My guy Fanyo, seems like I made it in time. Yeah, you did, not me so much. But thank you guys if you're double screening the boxing fights. I know that the Saudi Arabia shows, their pacing is still kind of terrible. From the Fury Ngannou fight, apparently from what I'm reading, it hasn't changed. So if I can at least serve as some entertainment on the breaks, that'd be cool. Rain Lamina in the house. Are you the karate combat of being a party wombat? Good pun this week. I appreciate that. I've been listening to more of the. I don't know if that's like a nod to the Jack Slack show, because I know I'm gracious enough to get mutual listeners of people I respect like that. But he does kind of a rhyme thing in the beginning, and I think it's hilarious. It always reminds me of you, Rain Lamina. So I don't know if that's what it's from, but I appreciate you bringing that energy to this show. It's I don't know if we deserve it here, but it's awesome and appreciated. Rio says in Truesdale, I'll show up for PYN any day. I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. And yeah, you guys have really kept me going. Tough. Yeah, it's also whatever. There are some evergreen themes, and I'll definitely not shy away from those and whatnot, and own up to them. But it's not even like a thing of pride or negative. I feel like I did really good at really trying to be positive, push through, consistent. Say what you will. I didn't really take very many breaks this year. Again, I only took my 2 weeks off that I get as an independent contractor at separate times, both to take care of essentially life stuff. As a lot of that went down this year, probably the most since 2020, which makes sense because 2020 was a crazy year for all of us. But even without the pandemic, it would have been a crazy year for me personally, with family stuff. Becoming primary care for my madre, but she. Through all these years of therapy, has finally gotten back on her proverbial feet, and there's a bigger family support system in Hawaii where she ultimately wants to be and never wanted to move out here in the first place 30 years ago. So long story short, but we got her back to Hawaii against all odds and financial hurdles, so that was good. But yeah, it just came at a weird time because we started the year off and. Part of it just me should have been more grateful to call myself out here, even though there was plenty of tough beats, and I still had that open challenge as far as bad beats go. 2021 and 2022, I still had enough good nights where I had a minimum of 2 really big nights that year. And I thought I had no big nights this year, but I actually had UFC San Antonio, which was a really big night and really grateful for. I need the MMA analysis guys to come out more often because every time they come out, I fucking kill it. And it's usually, it's untracked, but those are my biggest nights, and it's great because, you're just hanging out in the sports book with your boys. But yeah, I figured coming into this year, I use the dreaded do word, right? As if life is fair and, things are like that happen. And I thought I was definitely due, going to be consistent. Took advice, which I don't regret. In fact, I'm going to still keep with this, despite the stats I'm about to send your guys' way as far as the betting results go, because we went minus 20 units, 20.73, so 20 and just about 3/4 on top of that for 2023. It should be a lot worse because there's plenty of people with worse records or whatever, yada yada. But if you look at my style of betting, because again, I do I did some big ones toward the end of the year, but if I do a round robin of 4, that's immediately 6 bets. And then if I do my small parlay of those total, that's immediately 7 bets. So that's 7 bets of just kind of lottery dice rolls of small 0.17 U's to $2, whatever the long shot parlay is. So it's not a lot of money. But stats-wise, again, that's why I hate numbers, especially in all contexts. Of course, in this context, right? But yeah, I went 117, 525 for the loss column, and 6 for the push column. So as bad as that is, as bad as that sounds, and as bad as it'll be used against me. Again, the crazy part is for people that actually take the time to contextualize things in life, which I know is so small. I should be down way more than 20 units with whiffing on for 525 bets over the year, right? But it's because it's those small amounts, it's those lottery numbers, and so many of those were so close, and even like having professional gamblers who are proven in the space with the longest sample size, who aren't even, partial to my style of betting, like the Luca Furies of the world. When those guys come on my show and even are like, dude, I look over and like there's so many nights where it's just like, how did you not get that? You were this close to like just a giant swing. When even those people who don't even like track closely and it's not even their, those people are giving you that credit. There is some consolation there, but it's also like, okay, I'm not crazy, but it doesn't make it feel, any easier. And there's also added pressure this year because, as you guys know, we started the year with a bit of a, blessing in disguise. I got, more job opportunities at the Action Network, but that came due to, and I'm not going to repeat stuff and try to, guys trying to move on and whatever and do his thing. But like, somebody, and I still don't even know all the details because again, it had nothing to do with it. Somebody in this gambling community did some, very dishonest things, which is part and parcel for the gambling community, especially people who tout in any sort of fashion and charge money. And that's not a thing against it. I've had people on this show. I shout people at Patreons. I support and shout their Patreon. It's nothing. It's not a blanket statement. Don't take offense, folks. But you guys know what I'm talking about. There are some dishonest folk who kind of ruin it for the bunch. And it was kind of that deal. And anyone around him in like a blast radius, right, was getting strays. My guy Clint got a ton. Like started the year getting a ton of shit. And he was coming off, a tough year himself. And as people tend to do, they just started piling on my guy Clint. And I was already a fan of Clint. But and I've said this on his show. I said this privately. I've said this on my show. I've said this on multiple forums. But like Clint's one of the guys I've been rooting for hardest this year. And even though he might not hit his 100 unit mark, I was really happy for him just to fucking kill it. Like, what is he, like 90 units or something plus 9? It's crazy. Like, I definitely, aspire to that. So I was rooting for him and rooting for myself as well. And because of that, even though I didn't get it as bad as him, I still kind of was in that blast radius, right? And then with again, when I complain about luck, I am super grateful, folks. It's not about like it's tongue in cheek, and I always try to say it's circumstantial luck. It's not like life wise. I'm so lucky. I'm so and I'm trying to make the most of it, and I'm trying to make people proud, and kind of do the Saving Private Ryan. I want to earn whatever. Even, as much as I complain, I am very grateful, and I'm actually trying really hard to earn it because I have that whole imposter syndrome, right? But when I talk about bad luck, it's more circumstantial luck, like the anger management movies, the Ben Stiller Meet the Parents movies. I can't enjoy those because I feel like I'm constantly in those circumstances. And sure enough, not just being in a blast radius and kind of getting shrapnel from something you had nothing to do with, that anybody that knows your character knows that you don't do that kind of stuff. I had another person in the gambling space come to me asking for help, trying to do something nice and donate money to a fighter. And that's another thing why, like, if karma was real, like the people that like I'm not special or anything, but like the one thing I can say about me is that when I win, everybody wins. That's the kind of person I am. I always share with his friends, family. You guys see me with like when I hit my big pots, I'll donate to animal shelters. And there's plenty of stuff that people in this chat know that I donate to, and I don't talk about because that's not why you should do it. It's not my energy. It shouldn't be your energy, in my opinion. You should give and just to help. And people that know me know I'm constantly doing whatever I can to help, and stuff that I don't even tell you guys about. So it's just really extra frustrating, right? That to not just get the shrapnel, but also back to the story of somebody coming to me. It's like, oh wow. Is there someone else in this space, in the gambling space of all spaces, that wants to give back? Oh, surely I'm going to help this. And I helped this person donate some funds to a local fighter in need using my connections with Extreme Couture, which I don't usually use even for like gambling. But when it comes to like positive stuff that I don't tell you guys about, I will use my connections in that when it comes to actually helping people. And I did so, but apparently these funds that were used to help a fighter, again, I don't even know the story because again, it had nothing to do with me. Collected or something in a dishonest way from this person, again, in the gambling space, dealing with money. This is why I don't even like to deal with money, even in a positive thing, because there's so many of these stories, right, just within arm's reach, where it goes wrong, whether it's ill intentions or good intentions, right? So the part of the reason why I don't like to charge and stuff. Not just because I'm like, oh, I'm some moral good guy. Like, no, it's more I'm a bad businessman, and I'm afraid because a lot of people have ruined it for all of us. And because that happened in such close proximity to the other thing that had nothing to do with me, I started getting that huge wave of trolls that my guy Clint was getting. And, you know, some dude who was like a tout in this space, and I don't even like repeat his name, it's not even worth it, but came at me hard, and then also, again, because just timing is just so perfect, right? I do a spinning back click show, and I do, I made the joke, the colonizer energy joke with the Dragus duplicate, and then I get the whole South Africa, and then I get that whole, so I get like these multiple, I get like the MMA chud, kind of like, neo-Nazi right ultra right wing crowd, and then I get the betting crowd all at the same time coming at me. And back to the 5-star ratings and reviews, why that's important, even though, I still think I'm in the 4-point something range. Like, I went down a decent amount of points and then had to go back up, and I'm still not even back up. And you'll see it's like all 5s or all top ratings or all like bottom ratings, just from getting bombed on from comments, and my listenership has gone down this year. My listenership was never great, guys, for example, but my numbers went down. So all that stuff really stressed me out. And this was only like the first third of the year, first quarter to first half, under the first half of the year. Like, this is between the first quarter to the first half of the year. Like, we're like 1/3 of the year, not even way. This is supposed to be where I'm doing good. And on top of it, my bets are eating shit, which is only giving the trolls more to do with. And I'm used to losing, and it's part of the game long term. And to my credit, I've been doing this longer than most. It's, even though I consider myself a noob in my head, you want to talk consistency, I've been doing this longer than most. As silly as getting on a YouTube and breaking down fights is, for whatever that's worth. But that makes the losses even harder, right? And then I finally do get a big hit. I think it was the Cejudo Aljo one. I get the Ninchuku by sub by plus 1,000. And because I had the tough year in 2022 and 2021, even though, I'm trying to downgrade it and say, I wasn't grateful enough. But the truth is I had a tough year to the point where I wasn't able to do the charities and donations to animal shelters that I usually was able to. So when I hit that Ninshuku, I was so happy. And it just came, you get the adrenaline of a win, which I just needed at that point, right? And then I got to do a good deed as well. But my dumb ass posted the name of the hospital and stuff so people could still look it up. And this hospital that's like almost like family to me and stuff. They've got like pictures of my dog. They give them like my dog's like special treatment and stuff. Not that they need to. That's not why I donate to them, but just to the point of the relationship we try to cultivate with communities. They were getting harassed by these fucking incels. Like, it's bad enough I gotta get it. They were getting it, and girlfriends and stuff and people, family members. I had to privatize my account because more from the right wing chud side, they were just getting like just racist. I'm gonna, I hope you get raped and all this crap. Like, this is the first half of my year, and then, my mother gets to go finally, which is great. She gets to go back to Hawaii. But like again and I'm not gonna get too personal into it. It's like but like. Dude, because they're all completely different circumstances and different issues, but like my circle's really small, and whether you have a big circle or small circle, like mothers, fathers, significant others, like I'm naming like really like, if you're lucky enough to have these things, really tight things. If you're lucky enough to have them, not everybody has these things, but if you are, very tight things, and like sisters, family member, like through, and I'm not gonna get too personal here, but just the way life, and again, timing is such Dan Tom's friend. Again, very grateful, but when it comes to timing, as far as like a certain kind of luck, like I lose all those relationships this year, so that circle goes right. And it's just like so just got to take care of my dogs. Who cancer scare number 47 with this dog. I start the year with almost talk about a few people you have. I haven't gotten to train with a certain coach because of health issues that we almost, literally almost died in my arms to start the year, which is huge PTSD, almost having somebody, actually they literally did die in the arms and we had to resuscitate them to life. And if you guys know my history with coaches dying, I've got a really long fucking history of that already. So it's like all this shit's happening like all this year, right? And I'm like, well, by the time like all this shit happens by the time it's like the back half of the year. And what am I doing? I'm still hitting you guys. I'm upgrading the show with thumbnails. I'm doing more top fives, evergreens. I'm doing judging and referee training, right? I'm getting back in the gym, right? No excuses. Working hard, grind set, consistency, positive mindset, you know? Plus already entering the year being due and then getting this shit for the first half. All right, silver lining. This last half of the year is going to be it, right? Anakin Skywalker, right? And yeah, so it's just like, woof. So your boy's been barely hanging on to a string. So I apologize for having to deal with my emotional ass, especially when it seems like over emotional off a stupid losing night. Like that's why. It's not one losing night. It's been a collective of things. And but again, because of capitalism, it's like it's really hard to take breaks, right? You gotta be consistent. You gotta be grind set, dog. You gotta push through, dog. And yeah, man. So it's what it is. So I was really hoping this year to like, I was taking I was having a conversation with an MMA coach, not Nick Zick or anyone like, but another really well-known one. I just don't like the name drop. And beginning of the year, and he gave me this advice. He's like, dude, don't even post it. Just like, but don't post anything on social media. I made like a couple posts, but I really haven't been posting much. But he's like, just work your ass off, and don't even tell anybody and come back. That was also kind of one of the things I was trying to do this year. But like again, health issues, all these other things, these hurdles, right? And I'm still down like 15 pounds walking weight as I talk to you guys right now. So I'm making progress. I've just kind of plateaued at this point, trying to get back down to the 180s and 170s. I was over 200, right? Like 209 walking around, right? I'm like 190 as in front of you guys right now. But like, yeah, so I'm making progress. But man, just like I really wanted more results to show you guys, a better version of myself, which I'm apologizing for not giving you guys. And on the results side of the numbers, I definitely didn't deliver on that. But yeah, even if I didn't have a fight this year, like I was, shout out to Mark Fellows and, I've been telling you guys, I've been trying to plan my trips, and I had to postpone that because, again, money-wise, and good thing I did because I didn't count on my luck to turn around because if I did, man, I'd be stressed even more right now. Trying to actually, like, give myself my deserved due time off, which it's not happening this year. Maybe February now at the earliest, which I'm doubtful of that. But we'll see how this next year goes. But, yeah, so sorry about that rant over. But that is kind of the context for the results, and was hoping to just have just something to show you guys, and kind of swinging and whiffing on all fronts. No fights, no glamour picks, no travel picks, no betting results, no Charlie Sheen winning, as fake as that is, the social media engagement world we live in. No, none of those Rudolph games this year. So what we did do, though, for what it's worth, is, again, as hard as I am on myself, so even though the results aren't there, the analysis, I would argue, I would argue is right. We talk about we'll talk about the rounds and the betting stuff that does come through, but prospects, again, looking ahead, it's not my beat. I'm not going to pretend to take all the credit. I really want to shout out analysts like Ryan Wagner of the world, journalists who are just excellent on the prospect beat, like my guy Nolan King, who definitely deserve the nominee, just like my guy Aaron Bronstetter, if not the award outright. Obviously, there's people that weren't nominated that should have been nominated that deserve the award outright. But I don't want to get down to that rabbit hole, obviously. Just trying to shout my dudes who have helped me with this article piece, and accounts like the Surfing Moon Wolf for the Asian scenes, Fedor's nephew, posting Russian stuff. That stuff's always very helpful, and I really try to shout out everybody in that regard. But yeah, the prospects that I said was going to age well, that I have pinned in my profile, I had Dan Tom MMA. We went 33-4 in that. Only 11 decisions with a 67% finish rate. So my dyslexic ass switched the 7 and 6 around. Which, we could have maybe gotten there if my guy Matias Camillo, he actually took a title fight on 2 days' notice. But because he took it on 2 days' notice, wasn't able to hit the championship weight, and the opponent turned him down for the fight. So that fight's no longer happening. And then we got Makoto Shinryu his impending rematch for the Risen New Year's Eve show with Kyoji Horiguchi. And again, I'm not saying he will win that fight, but if he wins that fight, I suspect just because Horiguchi tends to lose as well. Seems to be in spectacular fashion when he does lose. If he does win, it'll probably add to the finish rate, but we'll see how that goes, of course. For you JMMA fans out there, you are already familiar. Main card picks for this year, we went 128, 85, and 6, which is really bad for me, but still sadly decent if you're being honest with yourself, because anything around 60% is decent picks wise in this game. It's so volatile. But we went 59.82, so practically 60%. And again, even though the matchmakers have actually been better at this last half of the year, and I want to make sure I'm giving them that credit. I was just, and again, not to name drop or whatever, it wasn't Joe Silva who made an appearance on Sucker Punch Brian's bar. But no, another noted matchmaker who I've been in contact with and had the pleasure of really getting to know this past year. I was just talking to him, and I'm like, man, you guys and referees, I think, are just complete different jobs, but probably the toughest jobs in their own ways. But yeah, you also have to take into account that, the first half of the year, it was just unranked heavyweights force feeding us on those main cards, or those really bad fights. And then we still have the overall level of apex level of fight cards. So while they're still burying flyweights and meaningful fights on prelims, so it's hard to, even if I did well in the stat, it's hard to take that stat too seriously. And again, I already covered the betting results. Again, minus 20 units for the year. All right. Gonna go to you guys, and we're gonna do chat. We're gonna do shouts to listeners in the chat, and gonna shout also you listeners in your Amazon, what you guys bought for Amazon. Yeah. All right. So hopefully I didn't fucking bum you guys out too much with that recap of the year. I like the term film study dude over term analyst. Yeah, I don't know. Neither sound, they're all silly to me, but, I just try to keep, I don't know, man. Believe it or not, I try not to take myself too seriously, believe it or not. So, Fanyo, seems like I made it. Oh, yeah, that's right. There you go. That's right. I saw that. There we go. Da-da-da. Do you like the Saudi sports washing trend? Do I like it? I mean, it does make me very comfortable, It's, I'm happy to see people get paid, but it's also hard not to do the math, where it comes from and all that stuff. It's something that, if you were following, speaking of, journalists of the years, if you're following Kareem Zidan's work, he covers a lot of this stuff extensively. There's actually a really interesting episode and good interview. Shout out to Steffi Crooklyn did on the Bloody Elbow. Shout out to their Substack. Really interesting interview. I could not recommend enough if you want to hear more on that and the ties. Rain Lamina. That's where it's from. The Jack Slack Potty. Oh, awesome. Well, I feel honored to share some of that same energy. Rain Lamina says, some I make up, some I just steal from his intros. I appreciate that. I actually used to do my own a little better. If you guys remember, I still like my sign off, and always protect your neck. But I used to always kind of incorporate whatever joke I was talking about in the show, careful, watch out for, this, da-da-da-da. Watch out for vans with tinted windows, and always, it just would change. It would just be something fucking stupid, like that. Maybe I should get back to doing that, because that was something original that I did. Jin Karasu, got this on my notification. Excited to be able to didn't kill the mood. Chronic Combat Conversations, love you guys. Let's go, Dan Tom. What's up, PYN Squad? I love watching you guys now, just not for your show, but then seeing all the familiar people in the chat and stuff. So shout out to you guys. Great show, and definitely solid people in the gambling community. James Kendrick, I hate people who question your character when you do good stuff. I know people in the MMA space that are horrible people who don't even know the sport, who do dishonest stuff, and all they do is complain. Yeah, I know what you mean, and even though I don't do dishonest stuff and I mean well, I still can be guilty of the complaining thing, so I'm trying not to do that, so I apologize. Not that you're coming at me, Real Susan Truesdale. Sorry, Dan, I don't go on spinning back click just because how toxic that gets. PYN all day. It's all good. I don't expect you guys to. I don't look at the chat either. To be honest, on there too for that reason. Venyo. I'm not a part of the betting space, but there are absolute weirdos there. I have a fair share of hate followers, and I don't even have 2,000 Twitter followers. Yeah, I mean, that says something, man. You don't even, it's not even about the follower count, or you don't need some blue check mark to be a magnet for it anymore. These days especially, it's like, it's really bad. Fenyo, it's insane how people even find the time to harass you when they could just ignore. That's the thing too. It's just like, it's so crazy. Like, all the calories spent, and again, you don't have to let me or whatever, but it's like, just ignore, and then they are crusading on this righteous thing against like touters or people who scam money, and I'm just like, guys, there's plenty of things you can come at me for. It's real easy, but those things don't fit the bill. They never have, and they never will. I don't know where that's coming from. So that was just the extra silly part. I always expected hate, and you're always going to deal with that. But again, this year was just the timing, the directions, the reasons. It was just whatever Chef Kiss is, that's not like Chef Kiss, the opposite of Chef Kiss, but still just like, Dan Tom timing kiss. That's what we'll call it. Ghost, I feel you, Fenyo. I get the same stuff too. I bet you do, Ghost, now that you're getting more popular with the threads. You're probably seeing it more, sadly, unfortunate as that is, despite you contributing amazing stuff to the space, sir. Ghost continues, complete betting and political weirdos in my replies when I don't even make picks. Yeah, who you gonna, I'll see that, who you gonna pick? Who do you got? And it's just that whole deal. James Kendrick, oh my god, I've seen all your guys' replies on Twitter. The level of chuds that get mad at you guys is insane. Yeah, it is. It is a funny thing. L off topic. Rate Suarez in these categories 1 to 10. Wrestling. Off the top of my head, I'll just say 8. You could probably argue 9 or 10 in the context of her division. Jiu-Jitsu. Again, I'll just say 8. Grounded pound. She had some brutal stuff against Esparza. I think whether it's context or division or in general, you could probably make an argument for 8. I know I'm being really kind too. I also really like Suarez, and yeah, she is from my gym. Whatever, you can incorporate those biases there. Top control and scrambles. I'd say 8 because we've seen her being able to keep girls down there for ground and pound, and when she lets girls up, it's with the intention, even from her tough days as well as to the more well-timed gambles against Andrade, which I was saying was actually really good. People were shitting on Andrade because she was on that losing streak. We'll talk about that. We had a similar, Andrade and Emmett just really had that just amazing, like, for me, almost like, even though it was like not technical or whatever, but just for like impact wise, it was like almost just like KOs of the year, just shutting down the hype, veterans, just remind, the all must have forgots kind of deals. Like, L adds, also, would you pick her to beat Zhang? I think she's got the best chance to beat Zhang Wei Li. That doesn't mean I'm going to pick her, and we all know that the chat wouldn't let me out alive. I would get the most downvotes. I would, well, the way to turn the rest of my audience is to pick against Zhang Wei Li. Obviously, I wouldn't let that stop me. You guys know that I pick against my biases all the time, but yeah, it's definitely the interesting matchup. Jimmy Kudo, is that you, Yusuf? Suarez ain't beating Wei Li. Keep dreaming, Chud. I'm like, Jimmy Kudo's good. Jimmy Kudo's thrown down in the chat. I love it. I love it. The moderator, he's throwing the gloves down. All right, guys. I'm gonna appreciate you guys. Gonna way to support the show. Again, I don't deserve it, especially we're gonna keep it more positive. It really was, even though it wasn't a big one, we're gonna get to it, the recap here shortly. It was much needed. It actually did help. Just honesty and vulnerability takes bravery and strength, but that's unfortunately that's not how it's looked at. And despite that's not how it's looked at, me, I still gotta be honest and a little too vulnerable for my own good, but it is what it is. So if you guys want to support the show, which is free, of course, 5-star ratings and reviews on iTunes. No new reviews, but again, the 5-star ratings really help. Again, I got bombed this year. I'm still trying to recover all my numbers in multiple ways, folks. So any of that would help. Like button, subscribe, shares. Those are obviously the biggest things you can do. Those are free of charge. But if you like to support, you could go to my website, the support site. This is the website that supports this here program, the Protect Your Neck podcast. That website, my website, is mixedmartialanalyst.com, where you can find an archive of smartphone-friendly players of this program if you want to listen on your smartphone, but you don't have iTunes and whatever podcasting platform doesn't pick up this RSS, maybe you can always do that. And of course, when you go to the homepage, you just scroll down, maybe toggle to the right. If you're on the mobile, you will see Amazon and on it click-throughs. All you do is click through if you want to get some protein at on it. If you want to go get whatever God knows what at Amazon, you want to ease your conscience. People who run those, you can just go to my site, mixedmartialanalyst.com. That's one extra click. Click the banner. That's only 2 extra clicks total. You are at your website that you desire. You go about your purchases as you normally would, and through no extra charge, a small percentage of whatever you purchase gets kicked back to this here program, and it is greatly appreciated. Amazon does not tell me what you purchase, or on it does not tell me what you purchase or who purchases what or anything, but Amazon will give me a list of what is purchased. Don't worry, it won't tell me who purchased it. So if you want to have your one night in Bangkok, you want to buy that David Carradine, the vibrating nunchucks, whatever it is, the go to town, however you get your rocks off, the silk kimono, dress up, make yourself feel elegant. No judgment. It's a judgment-free zone. You can purchase it. I will pontificate on said purchase in a poorly comedic fashion, but no one will know it is you. You, Clark Kent. Your identity as Superman is safe. And of course, if you just want to donate straight up, there is PayPal donation link. You can go to PayPal. I believe it's Dan Tom MMA, where I pop up if you just want to search me. But yes, Dan Tom MMA with the underscores on Instagram in that link tree, or my profile on the artist formerly known as Twitter. At Dan Tom MMA, you will find link trees with, of course, all the links to my website, or directly to the PayPal if you want to donate directly. Not that I deserve it. Of course, super chats, monetizations of the channels, whether you're watching live or you want to go back post show and tip or whatever, there are options below the screen. You can do that, but hitting that like button is for free. So it's the Christmas time, and it especially really helps, and you guys have really come through. Wow. Some expensive things you guys bought here too. A lot of movies too, which I love to see. Let's me kind of divvy up the categories here. I'll get to those last. Someone bought Nature's Vet Digestive Enzymes Plus Probiotics for Dogs. I think it's the same person, the same dog lover as before. Thank you. I appreciate that. Somebody bought some Iron Seals Tactical Mole phone cover case and heavy duty lock. Nice. I always everything is tactical. That's the joke these days. I always love that. Like I was playing the Hitman game because I was just like I was able to score like a PS5 for like $300, like a new slim one. So I did that and I was like fuck it, because I have like an old PS4, like one of the first ones, and like an old 4K player. And I'm like, oh, sweet, now I can save room, and I just have one machine that does both. I can watch my movies and shit. But I was like, oh, yeah, I felt like, murking some people. And I checked out, I'm like, what are the Hitman games doing? Which is pretty much the same thing they've always done. They didn't really change too much. But he has what's called a tactical turtleneck. I was like, I got to get one of those for my guy Ben the Baines for all the fights that he's doing. A tactical turtle. Like, what is the difference between a turtleneck and a tactical? Does it have, like, those elbow pads and stuff or something on there? Like, you get tactical? I'm not trying to shit on whoever about the tactical phone cover. I love when they just incorporate that word. Because product descriptions for things that are tactical are also really hilarious when it's like, especially when it's like male military fatigue sites. Don't ask how I know these things. Someone bought a Smearly charcuterie board gift set. That's nice. Thank you for purchasing that. Wow, this wasn't cheap. This sounds impressive. An AMD Ryzen 9 5900X 12-core, 24-thread, unlocked desktop processor. Wow, that was a pretty penny. Putting together a custom computer, I see. I hope that is serving you well. I am still learning the ins and outs of this computer, which is why I haven't attached to my old camera, but to make a better new YouTube look for you guys. Hopefully that's to come too. If I actually give myself a week off here, the podcast, you guys might, I might actually, do that. So if I do take a week off, don't hate me. That is what it's for. as well as my sanity, God forbid. SanDisk, 256 gigabyte micro SD card, memory card with adapter. Thank you for purchasing that. Someone got an O-Motion Bluetooth keyboard. Man, you're putting together a custom beast here. I love it. Wireless folding keyboard. Somebody bought another case for iPhone 15 Pro Max military grade. Drop-proof case, rugged shock-proof cell phone cover with kickstand and slides. Wow, that does sound freaking heavy duty. Holy crap. I hope I don't have to update my phone anytime soon, but I don't know. You guys are saying those iPhone 15s have been pretty good. Somebody got... Is Oppenheimer already out on 4K? All right. That's actually... You got it for $29.96. That's a cheap price for Oppenheimer. It's marked down, I guess, from like $50. Wow. Okay, that's a good deal. I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. I'm sure the 4K probably looks good. I don't know. I'm just that weird contrarian. I barely make it to the theaters, you know. I don't know. Not that you need company to go to a theater or whatever. It's probably better to just go like loner mode during the day, like a Taxi Driver. It's really bad when you relate to characters like... Well, I was thinking the other day, it was fucking De Niro from Taxi Driver, and it was somebody else, and I'm like, I do not like that I find relatable qualities to those characters. What does that say about me? Well, Dan, where do we start? Somebody else... Dr. Jones, Indiana Jones, and the Dial of Destiny. All right, okay. I haven't seen that. Someone bought a 4K of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I haven't seen these. I heard these were good. Is this animated? Are there animated ones? Did they do new ones that are like live action? I don't even know. The last I got was like the Tobey Maguire, you know, Topher Grace stuff. And 4K, Lord of the Rings. I feel like the Lord of the Rings trilogy has been bought like 2 or 3 times through this. So it's definitely not the same person. But they're not cheap, those box sets, especially the 4K ones. So thank you for whoever bought that. Awesome. All right. Well, that wraps that. Where are we at? 42:06. Why not recap UFC 296, folks? Let's recap it. Last card of the year, UFC 296. Of course, took place exactly a week ago. I was actually, going to, because there was no show, I'm going to, for once, do the recap. Let's get it out of the way. I was actually planning to do it Sunday and Monday. I actually was a winning card. I had that motivation. But again, folks, I got knocked out of commission and was just, like, delirious because I still had a bunch of stuff to do. Of course, I had my fold down, my truck fell apart, and then I got to go, which is another added bill, and to get it repaired. And when I got it repaired, of course, they only repaired it, and then they didn't tell me that they didn't put my fold down back on. So now I'm back at square one at this fold down that I was saving up for, and finally was able to purchase in 2020. We didn't able to get it on back order. It's the custom Protect Your Neck piece, right? The one thing I have that's Protect Your Neck. Maybe I'll get you guys actual merch and get shit I can make money off of instead of shit that costs me money that I'm looking at right now, and it pissed me off because it took me to 2021 to get it, and then it took me to 2022 to install it, and then it falls off, like a year later, and then they don't even warranty their fucking work. Fuck the dealers, by the way. My God. Again, why would you have gone to a dealer? Because it was supposed to be warranted was the thing, and I've got a weird, obscure vehicle they don't make anymore, so we'll see. I'm going to find a good custom shop. Anybody knows a good custom shop in Las Vegas for off-wheeler 4x4s for FJ Cruisers, let me know. But yeah, we are on, that's not what this is about. This is 44 minutes. Let's go to UFC here. Got the results pulled up. So we went, it was a winning night small, 1.33 units overall. We went 7-5 in picks overall, 3-2 in straight plays. Would have been 3-1 if we didn't add that one, but we'll talk about that. 0-1 in props, 1-6 in round flyers. Little die-hard action there. We have to go die-hard at the end of the year for good luck. 1-5 out of the round robin. Unfortunately, we weren't able to use the die-hard. My favorite scene where it's like they play the good music for the bad guys. I love it when they get the vault open. They're like, Merry Christmas, it's so great. Like, and he's like, it's that whole scene, and they're opening the vaults. Like, I want to get good at editing where you can like put words over it, and you like there's that one meme where it's the guy shaking everybody's hands, right? and they just add like names and like a context to it. It makes it like a funny meme video. I want to learn that because I want to do the Die Hard one where it's just like when the vault's open, and like the FBI is thinking like, oh, they must be sweating their balls off on there, and then the guy that plays the police chief, who's the bad guy in the Breakfast Club or whatever, he's like, oh, the mayor's gonna have my ass. Like, I'd put like CLV bettors who think they got the best of it, and they don't realize. Then I put like the sports books, oh, the mayor's gonna have my ass. And then when they're in the vault flipping the things and he's going, ooh, like it would be like each bet that you got, Pantoja Pantoja minus 175, Edwards minus 155, flashing on the screen when he flicks the nipple of the thing. It'd be like you say you had like a WMMA bet or whatever. That's where that would go, And conversely, I thought about doing the opposite for which is a lot really graphic, classic Dan Tom, inappropriate. For all my losing nights, which I would get much more use out of this, is repurposing the American History X shower scene. Each guy that comes behind Edward Norton is the bet that you miss. Like, oh. Jesus Christ. Wow, Dan. Wow. Yeah. And of course, since we only went 1 for 5 in the round robin, we went 0 for 1 in the long shot. Parlay. And we were really close to hitting. We just needed 2. We got 1. We just needed 2 to hit profit on there. And we hit one of the most, wasn't, they weren't big legs. The biggest leg on there was like a plus 400. I had 2 of those, and we hit one of those, which we'll talk about, but not enough. So let's go to the results. Of course, at the top, Leon Edwards defeated Colby Covington. Yeah, I mean, all the talking points kind of been beat to death, so I'm definitely going to try not to beat a dead horse. And not that I'm a victory lap guy, clearly. Even less going to do that after the fact. And to be honest, like, I wasn't the only one saying that. I was surprised that, like, not so much the commentary, because, like, DC and Rogan, I couldn't think of, they were showing their ass on how much little tape study they did all night. Like, who's ever done this to this guy? Who's ever done this to this guy earlier in the card? And, like, you were just like 3 people? What are you talking? Did you even watch it at DC? So that didn't surprise me, but I felt like everybody else was surprised. And not just generalizing from takes that I saw across the timeline, but also the betting line can be a good indicator of these things too, right? Where the general opinion is, even if you're not a bettor, folks. I know a lot of you folks aren't bettors on this show, but that is one kind of cool thing, if you will, about the betting lines. It'll kind of indicate where public opinion can be at, whether you agree with it or not, or is regardless. And I was just surprised to see this close of a line, and the fact that I was able to get it at minus 155 was silly. I'm glad I smashed it. As much as I love dogs, and clearly that's my style, I do need to be better at smashing these spots, especially because I love to take these flyers, and that tends to dig in on your profit. And it's hard when you're losing your ass off, both to have the confidence and the literal bankroll to fund smashing favorite spots like this, which is also why it's really annoying when I'm losing, because I'm just like, I know how to dig myself out, but between the confidence and lack of funds, I feel like I almost force myself and pigeon myself to play in the more fun way, which is fine, because if you're not having fun, you shouldn't be doing this. You should be betting responsibly and having fun. Otherwise, it's really extra stupid to be doing something that's already admittedly stupid, folks. I don't shy away from that. But yeah, it was kind of silly to see that low of a thing, and I'm not going to be like, because I feel like the whole analyst space knew. Pretty much, not so much the whole analyst space, anybody who, back to, the delineation that Ghost gave in the chat, anybody who watches tape, tape watcher guys, gals, whatever, anybody who just watches the tape knew that Colby Covington has digressed. I wasn't the only one who said it, although I will say, not only did I say it with Covington, like all the other analysts that I respected, it wasn't like just one person saying this or whatever, but I will say that it also correlates with something that I know I personally have said, I've spotted, as far as like breaking down MMA Masters fighters, even guys I like Rick Lamas, right? Whether it was like Rick Lamas, who's technical, to Cesar Fajeda, is a very back foot style, right? Is something that we saw. And Ricardo Lamas, it was, he was so dynamic with his kicks, you could, maybe forgive him some for it. It wasn't quite as obvious, though. Again, Ricardo Lamas to me is kind of like Phil Davis. I almost wondered if they were, not that, the AKA camp is like the best or whatever. But I'm just talking about like a camp that maybe would have had him with more pressure fighting wrestlers, or kind of getting him more in that scheme. What would have happened, you know? And I do wonder that. With Cesar Ferreira, it worked fine because Cesar Ferreira, he not only was athletic, so he could hit athletic counters and athletic reactionary shots, but the back foot style was a protectant that his chin really needed, right? That was part of the reason what kept him from getting knocked out after sustaining that crazy run of knockouts he sustains, right? But for a guy like Colby Covington, it was already going to be, I was already very reserved, right? And you can rewind the tape and me saying that back many fights ago from him. And as many of us analysts have pointed out, this is kind of what we've got. So to see everybody so surprised of it, both pre, during, post, it's kind of mind-boggling, especially, again, mostly from the people that are in the Analyst of the Year category, we're surprised because it's most of those people that don't watch the tape. Unlike the Laura Sankos of the world, who gets put under Personality of the Year when she should be Analyst because she would stomp the competition. It's not about me, folks. It's like it's the disrespect to others who actually think would, could, and should win it. The Jack Slacks, the Heavy Hands guys. There's plenty better analysts than I, but just more, Anyways, I digress. And that's nothing against people I know who work, and some have recently announced that they're moving on from Fighters Only, and I wish them the best. It was never anything against them. I know how it is. It's not nothing to do with that. It's just, it's what it is there. But yeah, Edwards had a very Edwards fight. It sucked because if we just needed him to win at this point to secure a victory. But if he were to gotten the finish, it would have been a big swing. Because I had him in the round robin, which would have paid a few $100s for that, paid off the round robin. And then if that finish comes in rounds 3, 4, or 5, that's an extra, $400 or $500 with the untracked tickets. I put like 33 units on the rounds, so it was like 5, 7, and 900. It's Ice Cream Man. Hi, Kyle. Sorry, why is that your first thought, Dan? Wow. Yeah, you guys can hear it there. Oh, Jesus. This is still, it kind of warms my heart, In an age of not so innocence, we're afraid to knock on each other's doors. There's an Ice Cream Man. Sure, this neighborhood's sketchy. You guys ever see the original Assault on Precinct 13? Yeah, Al Pacino lookalike there. Can I have a vanilla twist? Oh, it's so great. They can never remake the movie the way that original one was. Sorry. Shout out to my guy Kyle Mack. I need someone on here just to talk movies with, man. I need like Zane or like Kyle just to do like a movie podcast or something. I need someone to talk movies with. But yeah, if Edwards would have got that, it would have been a big swing. Of course, it was not meant to be. Edwards kind of fought his typical fight. You could credit it because he wanted to go for finishes in the certain points, but he did it, via submissions and jumping for risky things, which was, doing that whole proving a point thing. And it was one of those classic Leon Edwards fights. Like, he messed up Covington. I don't think we should be shitting on Edwards for it. But yeah, I can't help but as a bettor go, ooh, right? Kind of one of those things like, if between a Covington, that I wasn't surprised to see that bad on the back foot. Whether he had a hurt foot or not, and with the personal stuff as well. If we were ever going to see Edwards get a finish, uncharacteristically, it was going to be here, but nope. That being said, I still would think that I would hope that this would give us, even though I think Bilal has a much better chance to upset the odds like he did with Luque and flip the script because MMA rematches don't go alike. That being said, my read on Bilal has been pretty religious. I mean, you could go through his sample size, and left-sided strikes are just not his friend. I don't know if it's something visually. He just doesn't see it, and it just brought out the best in Leon, and I would probably pick that the same. And even though I got burned here by Leon inside the distance, and I feel like everybody, the classic I always talk about, they get burned, right? And it's just like, why is this person so adamant about not going this way? It's like, they may have good reasoning, but good reasoning or not, a lot of times it's, and I'm guilty of this too, it's like, oh, you got burned by this person. That's why you got trust issues. We all got the trust issues. Because of that, I think maybe Leon probably does get the finish next time, if he goes against Bilal. Or Bilal gets the upset. Those are the only 2+ money outcomes I would look to bet. we'll talk about the other contender low on in the card. Of course, we had the co-main event, Alessandro Pantoja, baby. Pantoja season. Defeated Brandon Royval. And again, I love Brandon Royval. I love his team. Friends that I respect were on Royval. This is no disrespect there. You guys just know when it comes to guys like Pantoja, Powhatan, how excited I get. And again, as bad as my results have been, whether it's, Powhatan round twos that I've been cashing like crazy, or on Powhatan in general, or Pantoja in general. Shout out to my guy Wes Colvin. He's another OG Pantoja fan that's been on the Pantoja train, since back in the day. Yeah, man, just getting some respect. You never like to see people gas at flyweight. That is something that I've always said, but I think it's more of an optics thing that I presumed before the latest Moreno fight, and he proved that right then. Proved it right this time too, despite even looking more tired at certain points. But a lot of it's bad optics. I didn't go back to rewatch it, but I remember in the round 5, for example, which, by the way, like, I don't hate. I actually, because again, when I care for fighters, when I bet fighters, I'm just in general, I'm very not just admitted about my bias. You guys know me. I do the opposite than most people, almost to a fault, where I overcorrect the steering wheel the other way. So I actually wasn't. I felt like it was a for sure Pantoja win, but I actually was one of the people who was like, I wouldn't be surprised for a 48-47 Royval. I wasn't hating those arguments. You could, maybe it was just Pantoja bettors or Royval bettors making that argument or whatever. It's like, no, again, I'm watching live, so it's not the best, right? The judges have a better view than we do, so you have to give them that benefit of the doubt. But also, they haven't been the most consistent, right, as far as this whole damage versus control thing, right? As clear as it's supposed to be. So, there's a bit of that, to be fair, right? But no, I thought it was a clear win for Pantoja, but I also wouldn't have been mad if someone gave Royval 2 of the rounds. But also, even though I was more 49, I was right in the middle, by the way. I was 49-46. But I could see why you would get, 50-45s. Like, even in, I think it was round 3 or round 4, I believe there was a argument for Royval, one of those mid rounds. But round 5, for example, I could see why Pantoja still gets that, even though there's bad optics, because the optics are bad and Royval is going at him, but he's not completely selling out, and he's using a lot of the jabs smartly to try to pull out the counter takedowns and right hands that had just been punishing him the whole fight from Pantoja. But if you look at it, a lot of those jabs and a lot of those pitter-patter ones, they're not really landing. Like, Pantoja's actually just really good head, not really good, but better than you would think, especially as tired as he looks, head movement. And I would argue he's actually slipping in the majority of those jabs, to where I was watching that 5th round going, ooh, between his optics and just the numbers being put out, this is going to be a really bad look for Pantoja, because he's actually slipping these, but people aren't going to see that, And to the credit, or maybe not to the credit, but in defense of those judges who gave 50-45 Pantoja, perhaps they saw what I saw there, right? That those weren't landing. It was more just him looking tired, and although fighting spirit is a criteria, how much is that going to outdo actual takedowns, advances, pitter-patter, or maybe not the closest submission attempts, albeit, but secure, we're not going anywhere. We're working at my pace, and I'm working still at the end of the day toward finishing the fight, And also as a ground person, and I know, this is, again, I think I'm pretty fair with my biases or whatever, but, like, I think that, there was a lot more going on the ground than people realize, whether they were on the Pantoja side, Royval side, or just neutral about this fight as a viewer. There are a lot of intricate passing stuff. I didn't get a chance to go watch or read my guy Will's Open Note Grapple, who I try to share a bunch of his stuff because he's an excellent analyst, particularly, obviously, in the grappling realm. He can explain a lot of stuff better than I do, but I remember tweeting live just, like, the intricate passes of the fake, the left to the right, like, just real little things, like, that he was doing. Like, it was... I love it. I love it. Because he has that kind of draping pass where he'll almost let you triangle or omoplot or throw something up, and he'll kind of, like, limp arm and drag and get the pass. Like, you saw him do that, I think, like, in round 4 to Moreno, right? And then, like, it was the classic one where he advanced too fast, went to the mount, and then fell on his back, but was still able to hit Moreno with solid elbows and an up kick that arguably won him that round, right? You'll see him do stuff like that, and this time he was kind of baiting that direction, that drag off to the left, and then he would kick back or cut through the other way after doing some misdirection shit. It was fucking cool. Go check out Open No Grapple for better descriptions than I can give you. I haven't gone back to watch it, and even if I did have the time to do that with a fine-tooth comb and specialize in that stuff, I doubt I could do it as good as these people. Again, folks, it's not about me here. I'm never saying I'm the best or anything with any of this shit, whether it's silly bets going into a card or some overarching award shit. Like, no, I give credit where credit's due. There's plenty of people I put above me and try to share everybody around me. Again, that's the ironic part, right? It's just like, if this karma stuff was real, it's like, wouldn't you want guys like me to win? Like, the haters that blow me away, because I'm the kind of guy, like, say what you will, I'm not perfect, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but, you know, I'm a kind of everybody wins around me kind of guy, you know? I don't know. It's like, don't you want those people to win in life? I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, Pantoja too, it's a guy I want to win in life, you know? Just seems like it's such a good dude. And, you know, the media doesn't want to pay attention to that stuff, and you know, the lighter weight classes and the good divisions. And this fight didn't get the attention it was deserved going in. And I feel like just because of Pantoja's optics, you know, he's still not getting the respect somehow. And even though he was a favorite going in, I still feel like he wasn't getting the respect being the favorite finally, man. And that's why I posted he was my fighter of the year. Of course, Junkie, we gave it to, I can give this away now because we already have a reaction video out. We gave it to Sean Strickland. It's fine. Stream Couture gets one. Obviously, that's fine. You know, on paper, there's no standout people, right? There's like, everybody's pretty close in that group. It's not like Pantoja stands out crazy. It's not like Strickland stands out crazy, so forth. So I'm not sitting here saying that, but it just proves the point of just like, I felt like we're back in high school. Like, again, we're, you know, instead of talking about this amazing flyweight fight or giving fights the credit they're due, we're talking about the fight that happens outside, you know, which, you know, MMA Junkies Fight of the Year, involving MMA Junkies Fight of the Year, and of course, you know, third Regis Duplessis, which just looks like, you know, again, Sean Strickland looks like that, just like, you know, school shooter kid, you know, looks like he drives the Mustang 5.0, he's got the Dickies, right, the oversized white shirt and the Dickies, like, Sean Strickland is that dude, right, and then Dreykus, like, I remember before the fight, they were showing them together, and Dreykus is, like, giving him the finger and, like, taunting him. You're like, oh, this is going to go well. I was like, I just thought of that. So I posted that Nick Diaz thing. It's like, you know, these people, they want to act all tough and get in front of your face because the cameras are on, and these cameras are on my face, and I'm like, I feel like I'm back in fucking high school again. And I was like, I don't know Sean Strickland, but I feel like he relates to this quote right now, and if not, the literal picture of this is that quote, like, we are back in high school. And sure enough, the jock and the crazy, you know, the crazy outcast kid are fighting, which was usually, I guess, you know, in a lot of Benjamin, I guess in a lot of ways, sorry, I was probably that crazy outcast kid because I was always fighting the jocks, I feel like, because half of them were my friends that I grew up playing and ended up being on the football team, and then I would like do their practices unofficially with them. Even though I wasn't on the team, and then I would just get in fights with all the douchebag jocks that weren't my friends. Yeah, so I relate to that. But yeah, and then of course they get in a fight, and we're back in fucking high school again. And all the media people who you want to accuse of being nerds that never got that credit in high school, and you want to accuse of, you know, taking shots at the pro athlete. I'm not saying that stuff doesn't exist. I know my guy Bill Burr always talks about that. You know, as much as you want to accuse us of being that, at the end of the day, it's like, no, my colleagues, you know, we feed into the same thing, because at the end of the day, what gets the nudge? What gets the nudge? It's what's popular. It's a popularity contest. You know, we can shit on fighters only for, like, doing the most overt, disgusting versions of popularity and engagement contests. But really, we're not much better when we look at who we vote for and who we have a chance to vote for. And I realize my guy, one of my favorite fighters, got it last year, Poatan, which was more kind of just funny, tongue-in-cheek. As is a lot of things with Poatan, because it's hilarious. But, like, it was kind of like, and I even said this when we were voting, I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, I know we shouldn't take this seriously, but I still don't forgive y'all for giving it to Usman over Dubronx in 2021. Because Usman already had strong 2019 years where he won it, deserved to win it, from many outlets, including our own. And we're going to go give him more again when it wasn't even that great. You know, like, he beat, you know, and again, Masvidal and Covington, as much as I've defended these guys in the past, at the same time, I've also been on the other coin when it's been appropriate, which was like, yeah, these aren't rated that high at this point in their career. You know, where they're trending, where they're at. And whereas and they've had plenty of years at the top, and they could still have more, and because they have that popularity, even if they don't have a good one, they might even just be nominated just because of their fucking name. Whereas, you know, shout out to Heavy Hands, they say the brave Brazilians, of course, minus my terminology on this podcast, Brazilian war horses, right? They take the long road. They're not supposed to fucking be there. The RDAs, the Dubronxes, and you know their time up there is going to be not long, even though they're good and they deserve it, just because it's the nature of it. And they compete in and these guys that I'm talking about actually compete in like really tough divisions, you know, lightweight, right? For Dubronx, flyweight for Pantoja. And it's like, you know, as much as I love Dubronx, I didn't like his chances, right, for the next year. And sure enough, right, as much as I like Pantoja, and as much as he's proving he can fight in 5 rounds, it's like, dude, it's so competitive. And Pantoja, it seems like anybody can beat anybody. And instead of like realizing that a talented weight class, people are using that to shit on flyweight and Pantoja instead of correcting course like they should have fucking done years ago, because they are wrong by disrespecting the fucking division. Going, oh, it's not that good because anybody can be anybody. I want dominant champion. I want John Jones. I want Dick the Suck that's undefeated. I want to coattail on other people's because I can't do shit. Right? Ugh, I fucking hate it. No, we don't want somebody that's a good dude, a good person, a hard-working person, you know? Those bullshit values everybody espouses. Oh. You know? It's like, no, we don't want, I don't know, entertaining fighters who actually fucking fight and put it on the line. And don't cherry pick. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, and I even made the joke too when we were doing discussions, because they were talking about like somebody like I forget, from one of the awards, and someone brought up Makhachev, and I'm like, listen, Makhachev's going to be deserving for a lot of awards for a lot of times. There's already a giant queue of people lining up to get on their knees. Do we have to add ourselves to that queue? Or can we use our platform, our time, and our energy to, God forbid, give some fucking shine to somebody else who actually deserves it too? So yeah, Alexandre Pantoja is my fighter of the year. If we're not giving it to guys like Pantoja, Dubronx, Glover, like some of the most gems of the sport, like with the stories that they have, like overcoming physical, poverty, lack of parental figures, biological, like fucking things where you're not supposed to walk right in Dubronx's case, like politics of like so many hurdles, so many levels, so many parts of their life from start to finish. They're not supposed to make it. And they fucking made it. In style. If we're not giving those people Fighter of the Year, what the fuck is the award even for? What the fuck are we even doing here? Let's just call it the dick-sucking popularity contest award, because that's what most of the awards are. Anyways, Shavkat Rakhmonov defeated Stephen Thompson. I'll stop at the end of the main card now. I'll get to your guys' questions, by the way. Rakhmonov was, even if he wasn't hurt, I don't think this was like a performance to, really judge him too heavily on. It was tough because it's like Rakhmonov's injured and Thompson is clearly shot to the point where his footwork is gone. Like Jack Slack, shout out to Jack Slack, posted that GIF of him being confused and not knowing where to go. And maybe it's the added dynamic of wrestlers, but he's dealt with that before, right? It's just age, man. That speed and sensibilities. Like, he had better counter wrestling, and he still showed some good counter wrestling in the clinch. But yeah, man, it was bad. And again, Rakhmonov, a guy who is was high on, I know it's not the craziest to be, plant your flag on a dude with a dead animal hat and an undefeated record, Dan. Wow, you're so smart. But no, I was talking about this guy's game, the intricacies of it, where I saw him rating him at welterweight ceiling long term. When asked, the classic Shavkat Khamzat, I gave the less popular at that time. Now it's not, but I gave the less popular at that time Shavkat answer. And as more caught on, the odds got higher. It got harder to play this guy, especially if you're practically priced out at this time. But again, Like the Poetan, hot rounds. Get your hot rounds, yeah? Shavkat round 2 has just been fucking gorgeous for me. It's been doing me wonders. Playing Shavkat on the rounds, it's been great. Again, these guys who are good with the overprice, you got to play the rounds. You got to play the rounds. So it wasn't too big, but it helped. And, ultimately still made the difference of a winning and losing night. Paddy the white natty Pimblett, fucking hell, defeated Tony Ferguson. That was really depressing, folks. That was depressing. I know. I knew what I was buying into and this and that, and I knew that Tony was already shot. Oh God, just that level of shot. It was just oof, really bad. I never was high on his grappling or the 10th Planet style as far as off your back style like that. But like many podcasts have been saying, it is a real indictment of that for sure. It's an indictment of Ferguson. All these things, his training regime, his people around, and they were trying to give good advice. I'm not familiar with his corner. I saw it was the same corner. They were cornering some other people at Karate Combat prior, the dude with the mustache, and they were telling him to get up. You could see the frustration. They're just Tony's lost, man. He's therapy sessions out there. He's having therapy sessions out there at this point. There's not a competitive fighter out there. It's a dude just swimming through his own nightmares, and it's really tough to watch. Paddy surprised me with how big he was. He just looked gigantic, not just with his giant head and shit from a fellow big-headed guy. I'm not hating. I'm just saying, the guy's like a giant-headed Owen Hart out there. And Tony isn't small, and that really surprised me. Paddy like striking. Like I said, it looks improved offensively for like the first few seconds. However long it takes, forever how long it takes, to be honest, to get into the first deep exchange. And as soon as that first deep exchange, like I said, his chin goes right back to normal, and he's back to old Paddy. So again, I guess the best we could do, I took my 1.5 unit shot. In my opinion, it was fine. It was worth it because Paddy still almost lost it. That was terrible to gas. I know he tried to finish him in the first round, but to gas that bad, and I know Tony was going to the body jabs and stuff, but like Tony just did not have a lot of oomph, could not take a lot. He did not look like he was offering a lot. Paddy seemed like he was in the driver's seat the majority of the fight. I don't know why he was gassing so badly by the third round like that. Especially when that was the slower paces of it all, when he was on top. More of the standing changes were in the first round, or the heavy striking was in the first round mainly, to be honest. That was just a bad look. So at least the good news is hopefully we can at least, with that promotion, at least get a good line on Paddy. The old Leon the Professional watering the plant, so to speak. And we can just get a good line on Paddy because, again, those of us who've been watching him since the Cage Warrior days, he's just barely getting past these fights that arguably some he didn't even get past, whether it's Jared Gordon, Julian Erosa. So, yeah, I'll just, not trying to be a hater, but, I will definitely wait for that. Josh Emmett defeated Bryce Mitchell. Again, some just because the results might not go your way, this is the same energy, and it does cash here, and we will get this replication. Hopefully for Paddy Pimblett's sake, not a complete replication, because boy, that was scary. I did not enjoy that. It almost took the enjoyment out of the way of a big win, because Josh Emmett not only cashes, for a unit at nearly 2-1, which he did close at 2-1, which was just stupid. This isn't just biased to me cashing this, by the way, folks. Like, this reminds me of, like, when people talk about certain lines, like, one of the legendary lines was, this sounds crazy to you guys folks at the time, but getting Frankie Edgar at UFC 211 for near even money against Yair Rodriguez was just a silly steal. Like, this is a guy, at this point, who had never been finished. He might have been in his post-prime, but in the very beginning of it, where his style was still functional, like a Clay Guida, And, Yair was, say what you will about the athletic potential, was still overhyped and, maybe not as defensively vulnerable as a Paddy Pimblett, but I remember at that time he didn't even strike from the left side of his body. Like, all his strikes and his punches and his kicks, he would switch his stance, he would do spinning stuff, right? But if you looked, it was literally, he was a one fucking sided fighter. It was ridiculous at that point in Yair Rodriguez's career. You think he's getting by on athleticism and stuff now? Like, no. He's got much better technique now at this point. But that was a steal. There are certain lines, maybe, I don't know if it'll fit the most reliable underdog or reliable favorite, which I do love that category by you guys, by the way. Shout out to my guy, James Kendrick, who collected those. I'm going to read those at the end here. But yeah, Emmett Mitchell, sorry, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. But this was just a stupid line. Like, it made no sense. Like I said, and again, I probably would have hit it harder and had even less question about it if I didn't get my ass just fed to me all year, right? With just bad luck and stuff. That I have such PTSD from just getting my ass beat both in this game and out of it all year. I'm just like, where's the stick? Where's the stick? Where's the trap? But it was just stupid. And again, I had people that I respect that were heavy on Bryce Mitchell. I'm not trying to be Mr. Revisionist and make myself look good and make other people feel like shit or look bad. That's not what it is. I have been on the wrong side of some really stupid fucking lines myself, okay? I'm just as guilty. But there are some lines that are just really stupid, and you want to hope you're at least on the right side of history. At least I was on the right side of history of this one, because it made no sense. It made no sense. We may have not seen Emmett against that style archetype, but even more so of like, why are you so confident if you haven't seen him against that style archetype? We've seen him against better styles and more reliable styles and have a more reliable sample size of Emmett. In general, off the bat, no argument, that's a fact. But B, Bryce Mitchell is coming off of literally it's not even like you have to go digging. Like his two most relevant sample sizes, his two most recent sample sizes are the most relevant ones for the style. Stout wrestle boxers. He lost to Topuria, and then I hate the I was sick thing because it really takes it away from Topuria, who goes and shows against Emmett like, oh no, had nothing to do, like this guy is legit. And that was kind of ironic because that was like a classic Dan Tom where I'm ahead of these guys, ahead of the curve, promoting them. And then when they finally have their coming out party, that's the one time I got to be contrarian Dan Tom and go for the fade. But in my defense, do you not see why? Even though I actually could show my work as far as why I took a flyer, and it was an admitted flyer. I admit Poirier's awesome. I've been the one saying he's awesome. He's the deserved favorite, but these are kind of crazy odds, and every prospect has a slip up. This is the flyer, and I was able to show my work. And even without having to show my work, how about just like the number one pound-for-pound puncher? Even if Ngannou was still here, you can still make that argument, because I don't know how fair it is to make that Ngannou the number one pound-for-pound puncher when he's clearly like one of the number one pound punchers in the universe, and he's a heavyweight, right? But like, yeah, especially with him not being in the UFC, like literally the most scariest pound for pound puncher in the UFC. You can make that argument, right? Like it's Josh Emmett, and you know, especially with these results that we've seen in at least in MMA. If we go for UFC, I put him over Poatan, just over Poatan as far as pound for pound punching power, right? That says a lot. You guys know I love Poatan, and I will, stand for him ridiculously. I will overcorrect the steering wheel for him in the opposite way, like total bias. But yeah, like it validated that. Like, do you see why that it doesn't matter what matchup Josh Emmett's in, that if somebody bets him by knockout, like you don't have to agree with it, but you should not be making fun and like losing your mind. How could you bet? Like that's how. That's how. Go watch the Michael Johnson fight. That's how he's losing, and he just deads a guy. Go watch the Ricardo Lamas fight. That's why. This is some of the most scariest fucking knockouts. I am like the least biggest fan. You guys know I'm a technical nerd. Like right hand knockouts are the last thing I would give a knockout of the year for, much less something off of recency bias. I don't know, man. I think it's like the knockout that was so fucking scary. And again, it was just a reminder. Again, not only did Bryce Mitchell lose to Topuria, and I connected that whole justification as far as why Topuria and Emmett are both legit. But even Ige, guy doesn't get enough credit, and I know that the Extreme Couture bias, but like Ige fought an uncharacteristically really bad fight for him, and still arguably won. For anybody that knows criteria or just the common sense of looking at both the fighters to see Bryce Mitchell all fucked up in the eyes, like taking those shots. You really want to take those shots from a guy who hits harder than Ige with better takedown defense Arguably, I know the rate didn't show that way. They were like, Ige was like 53, Emmett was like 46. But again, it was the context, right? Again, stats people were like, you lost 500 bets, you dumb, and not look at the context. Same, and that's fine. And they can point at me losing money because most of them, I guarantee you, lost money on betting the standard MMA gambling bullshit. Shout out to my guy Pepe Silva, where, ooh, young guy, ooh, old guy, soggy dick. Well, the soggy dick special may not have cashed for Tony Ferguson, but the soggy dick special cashed for Nas fucking Veratu, Josh Emmett over here. So stick it. Put that in your pipe and fucking smoke it for the old guys, baby. I love seeing the old guys in stylistic analysis, stylistic matchups, which is what this sport is based on. It's the matchups, people. It's been told to you, even from the Rogans of the world from the beginning. Y'all don't listen. It's all about fucking size and age and that bullshit. Which I know, like, by the statistics, that's where I was like, by the statistics, I don't have to think or have my own opinion as a critical thought. I can just shit on old people and cash and act like I'm the shit. Like, okay, fine. Good on you guys. Because I have a lot of friends that have been cashing on those trends too. But you guys know me. You guys know what I'm about. Whether it's, shouting, rooting for the old dudes. Y'all must have forgot. The plus monies, the underdogs, by the lines, in life. To sticking to what got me to the dance, on what got these people to the dance, the martial arts, the style, how that interacts. That's it, baby. That's it. That was a beautiful cash. It was, I can say with no bias, I don't blame anybody for putting that other knockout of the year. It might be mine. And seriously, not just the line of the year, the betting line of the year. This is going to go down as one of those all-timers, I would imagine. I would love someone to weigh in on this who didn't bet this, that is in the gambling community, because I feel like even people who were on the Mitchell were like, what the fuck were we on, right? What the fuck was that, right? Like, he had no business being favored. He had no business being juiced. He had no business being favored nor juiced on short notice, much less, or on a full camp, much less at short notice, which he stepped in there at. It made no sense. That line was the gift of the year, and I don't say that to feel bad, because if anybody should, even someone like me, who is victory lapping right now, still feels bad, because I feel like if I were more confident, that would have been an easy 2-unit bet. I should have gone in on that motherfucker. God damn. Josh Emmett over Bryce Mitchell. One of the stupidest lines of the last 5 years, not just this year. Easy winner for this year. Alonzo Mendes, let's go real quick to the recap you guys in the chat, and we'll finish this out. All right. Off topic, is that Yusuf? Look at Yusuf changed his name to L and thought I wouldn't find out. Don't worry, Dan. I took care of it. Yusuf was a weirdo from the MMA Today from Drake Show. Oh, okay. I didn't see any problematic stuff, but I'll take your word for it. That's why you're there, Jimmy Kudo. James Kendrick says, LOL, Yusuf changing his name. We like to S on Yusuf for his horrendous takes, and I'm with Jimmy here. Zang Gang for life. Zang Gang is not messing around, folks. They are its own entity. It's like a sleeper cell that I created. You know what I'm saying? Like like you guys are like my mujahideen. So I'm listening to the Blowback podcast right now. So I'm thinking in those terms. Synchroing. Hey, I bought the SD card. Oh, thank you, Synchroing. 256 gig for extra storage on my laptop. Nice. I hope that helps. That's awesome. You have a laptop you can upgrade like that. That's such a cool option. Rain Lamina, I recently gotten into MMA betting. What do you think of my overall strat? Bet all the Bellator favorites and bet all the women fights go to decision. Yeah, it's not bad. That's another long-term one. As much as I shit on like the, betting against old dudes, like obviously old dudes, it's a young man's game, folks. I'm getting excited. I'm not going to deny. Let's just shit on the numbers. There are numbers that I don't deny, and I'm not denying those. As well as, fights going over or Bellator favorites. But the books have caught up on those recently, or not recently, but over the years, and have just continually to steadily kind of price you out on women's overs and stuff. So now you kind of have to just parlay a bunch of those women's overs and big favorites together, which can be easy, but then also you can get caught speeding a lot because it's MMA and it's favorites. Ghost Phantom. Do you like that Edwards inside-out kick that he was hitting from open stance? Oh, yeah. Could that be a southpaw technique of the year? Because the Gaunt Imavov also do that. That's definitely in the running. I love that kick, and I want to do it myself too. It almost reminds me of like twist kick mechanics they used to do in like sport karate and taekwondo. You were really good. You could poke people to the stomach with it in that open stance. It almost was reminding me of that. I know it's a different technique, but it's got a similar jive to it for me. Rio says in Truesdale, Yusuf or L or whatever he's going by is a complete chud, as you guys call it. I remember on Drake's show that he claimed Whaley was representative of Red and saying political stuff. Ooh, yeah, not fun. Dan, he's one of the people who complain that when Whaley wins, all blames her wins and nonsense on steroids. Oh, okay, yeah. Good catch, guys. Jin Karasu, what do you think of people getting mad at the comparisons of Demetrius Johnson and Pantoja? Mainly the diehard DJ fans who think he's unbeatable when DJ versus Pantoja would have been really good. I think it would have been really good, especially because of the clinch. DJ, that was always a great spot for him. And, I do wonder with Pantoja, there's much more raw there, but Pantoja does a lot of cool stuff in the clinch. And with his striking, I know he gets a lot of, I think that's where a lot of his striking savvy shows. I know, like, a lot of people will write him off down to a right hand or this or that. Which, by the way, I told you guys when I played the Pantoja by knockout, that would have. If I thought he was going to do the Edson Barbosa or the when Edson Barbosa fought Shane Burgos, because he looked like he was doing the stumbling off thing for a second. And I told you guys the right hand, he's been stunned by 5 of his 6 last fights, and then it's almost like 4 different times. He got really rattled, it seemed like, by Pantoja right hands. And if one of those would have put him down, you can see why I played that KO, and then that would have been a huge swing actually too. That would have been a big swing. Oh my god. These swings, so close, these swings. Again, I'm grateful that this was a winning night, but even when it's a winning night, it's a small winning night. I can't help but just again, man, just if this variance thing is a real, then maybe not karma, deserve it, due, okay. Maybe those other things exist, but if this variance thing y'all talk about's real, these easy nights, come on, I gotta. I don't want to say the word do, but I gotta experience some of those this year, right? Yeah, I don't know why people are getting mad at that. I didn't really see too many comparisons. I don't see a reason to compare it. They're awesome or whatever, but if you want to for fun, that's cool. I don't see why anybody should get mad at that. They're both awesome fighters, and I'm happy to see Pantoja getting that respect. Speaking of James Kendrick, speaking of which, did you like Whaley's respectful call out of Alexa Grasso? You know why I like it personally? Because MMA media and MMA forum guys get angry at anything Whaley does because she's Chinese. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of that as well. I didn't see the call out actually, and it doesn't surprise me that Whaley was respectful, and that's actually a really good matchup. I don't know, we got Suarez in the wings. I don't know what's going on. I know we're going to have a contenders fight, number 1 contenders fight with Blanchfield and Fiorot. So we'll see, but, I wouldn't hate that as far as, super fights go. And is actually a good fighter, James Kendrick adds. Yes, that is. People hate on good fighters as well. Makoto Kaigoku, speaking of cherry picking and going with undefeated fighters, our group here got stronger on the Zhang Gang love after she lost the first time to Rose. Yeah, we all kept that same energy. That is very true. Great point. So Makoto adds, so F those people who side with the undefeated. Yep, that's right. Yep, we keep that same energy. That's why I respect people who are hardcore fans of losing sports franchises, even though I'm not big into that scene. I respect those fans, who keep that same energy. Jin Karasu, do you find the narrative that Shavkat runs through Liev annoying? Both Shavkat and Liev have really good clinches, which is rare. I feel like that fight is close and people make it. That's a great point. That is a great point. Yeah. I mean, my gut reaction is Shavkat would, his opportunism would pay off, especially because he's shown that he can focus more, even when injured with that Thompson fight, right? But that being said, anybody just completely writing him off or think it's going to be a washing or whatever, that's dangerous thought right there. I would caution that for sure. All right, I'm going to knock out the prelims and we'll get the F out of here. I know it's a late show, but, I don't know how these boxing fights are going, but in case you're not entertaining, hopefully I'm providing some entertainment. Alonzo Menafield defeated Dustin Jacoby. I'm glad I stayed away from Jacoby. I said he was a parlay piece, but again, even though I picked him, and I didn't take the dynamic too seriously. I did give credit to the dynamic of countering. He wasn't a southpaw. He wasn't as reliable in Menafield, so I didn't pick him. But is that not the dynamic, right? I forget. Somebody was it somebody? Was it like Christian or Silas on the Fight Side podcast? Or I don't know who it was. Was it my guy Clint? Shout out to Clint. I don't know. I saw somebody comparing him to Rob Font, and that was kind of a decent comparison in the sense of, feeling out off that jab, but if somebody has a counter to that jab, and those certain counters, those are kind of his kryptonite there. And that seems to be the case with Jacoby. He's just winning the majority of the rounds, but he's giving so much that they eventually find their big moment and are able to, I know they hate to use the word in the official judging trainings when they're giving languages. They don't like to hear that somebody stole a round. But yeah, essentially. Adin Aldana defeated Carajosa. That seemed like a fun fight. I wasn't like watching it too closely, but man, when I redo my female fighters of the year, I'm gonna have to, pick between that fight and not fight of the year, but like my top five, because I love me some Adin Aldana. Her and Leslie Smith is always like a favorite of mine. I always try to squeeze in there, but maybe I have to rewatch and compare what was better, Leslie Smith Aldana or Carajosa Aldana. You guys can give your opinions on that one. Cody Garbrandt defeated Brian Kelleher. I had like the John Lineker fight in my mind, and essentially, as far as the athleticism and speed difference, that's what came to be. Cody Garbrandt won that. Lipsky defeated Casey O'Neill. Again, we're all getting blinded for our love for Casey O'Neill here, because, even though I didn't play her, this was just another classic. Even I did pick her these last two times, but even though I picked her with the bias, I did say, I feel like dog or pass spots. The more mature lady has the plus number next to their name. And I saw a lot of people essing on Casey O'Neill's performance. I will defend her and say that, like, she did state that, like, which makes sense. You go look at it. It looked like she got really just rocked on her socks kind of a deal and was on autopilot, and that was the case. And we see that a lot, and I think a lot of times we forget about that. And we need to cut some leeway for fighters in general. I think Fenyo brought this point up about a fight not too long ago, and I thought it was a great point. I think it's worth repeating here, especially because it's not me like standing for somebody. Like, it's clearly what happened if you go watch the fight, like even without her giving her explanation. But yeah, she was definitely disappointed in it. Obviously, any fighter would be in a low place, so it does suck to see people just get shit on when it's like they know they just got really fucked up. What do you want? What do you want from them? Tajiro and Blackout defeated Cody Durden. I jinxed Durden. Again, I don't feel the worst for losing this bet. And it's not really surprising because, again, it's classic Dan Tom, right? Winning nights, losing nights, good years, bad years. Man, me and, like, losing the first bets of the night is just like, ugh. I remember one of the last times I started off on a card not having to stress and winning an early bet. You got to go back, like, 2 years ago. So when it was Brad Tavares defeated Omari Akhmedov, and I had Tavares money line, I unloaded on it. I had Tavares by decision, and this was back when I had like only like 3 or 4 bets a card, and I didn't do the round robins. So the fact that like 1/3 of my bets cashed, and it was my chalk like safe bets, I was essentially like guaranteed a winning night, and it was like the second fight of the night, and I was just like, and again, I was grateful for it. It wasn't like the universe, like, oh, Dan was a little shitbag that night. Like, no. That's the ironic part. I am fucking grateful for these things. I am a good winner, I would like to think. And, I never saw that night again. Never saw a night like that again. Nope. But yeah, it's always like first. I remember like back in the day, like I forget it was like Taylor Lapalus for like some Japanese dude, like back in like the early Fight Pass days, like 2014, almost 10 years ago now. I remember waking up for some random fight card, like, because I had a bet on it. I had bets on the card, and I had like a bet on the first fight of the card. I remember just waking up and going like, losing that bet, going like, something about this. This feels like this is my thing. And unfortunately, that's self-fulfilling prophecy, baby. Losing the first bets of the night. We'll see. We'll see if we can break that trend. Like, I'll probably place a prelim bet no matter what is on the first card of the 2024 just to see where we stand on 2024. Like, that's gonna be the omen. That's gonna be like the Groundhog's Day, the groundhog to see, are we gonna have a long winter this year? Like, let's see if nope. It is death taxes and Dan Tom losing his first bet of the night. Andre Fili defeated Lucas Almeida. Was really happy for Fili. especially after losing his dog and the John Wick thing. He must have been in his own John Wick mode, man. Like, I'll tell you, after I was telling you about my recap of the year, and if on top of it I was gonna lose my dog this last, I was just like, fuck. Yeah, I would have been Dan Wick for sure. Shamil Gaziev defeated Martin Budzai. Yeah, that's that. All right, that recaps that. Boom, 134. Wow, Jesus, 134. Finished that. Just over an hour, or just under an hour of a recap of that. All right, I'm gonna just touch on some award categories. I may have a guest come on that you guys are familiar with. Just kind of recap some end of the year stuff. I think I'm just going to do just a couple basic awards. I don't even think I'm going to do coach or gym because I'm way too biased to do that. I'm just going to give it to my guy Nick Sick and Extreme. I think here's the basic ones I'll be doing. Male fighter of the year, female the fighter of the year, fight of the year, knockout of the year, submission of the year. 5 basic ones. Because it's your guys, if you guys want to suggest any neckies, you can do it from now till whenever I do the show. You hit me at Dan Tom MMA. Yeah, reach out to the podcast in those ways. Comment in this comment section, like, share, do all those things as well, please. But I'm gonna pull up my guy James Kendrick, who was kind enough to recap what we got going here. Ba-da-ba-boom. Let's see. What did James Kendrick get? Here we go. All right. He even was kind enough to even get like the people who did it. All right. Most reliable favorite. We're gonna do that one. That was a James Kendrick suggestion. Most reliable underdog. We're gonna do that one. That's 7. The only bet I think I want to add to that one, and again, might be already kind of gave it away who's gonna get it, but I think it's a good one. Is best line of the year, right? Maybe best bet and worst bet of the year. Maybe that one. We'll do that, or maybe because best line could be maybe best bet. But yeah, those might be the betting ones I add. Best line, best bet, worst bet. But I'm gonna keep in the same language. Most reliable favorite, most reliable underdog. I think that's a really good one. Best bodywork performance, Jimmy Kudo. Jimmy, you're speaking my language. Of course, we got to have best bodywork performance. That's yes. Southpaw technique of the year, Ghost. We're definitely doing Southpaw technique of the year. I think we're going to have a couple Southpaw awards. I think we're going to have a Southpaw of the year award. So we have a Southpaw of the year. We have a Southpaw technique of the year. And then I'm going to have a kind of a joke category, but not really. We're going to have the Southpaw podcast of the year. And every nominee is going to be the Southpaw podcast. And it's going to be a mystery who I give it to. I know. We'll see who wins the Southpaw Podcast of the Year, which will have 4 nominees, all the same nominee. Shout out to my guy Sam Yang, Jason Sargis. Those guys are just awesome. Way too kind to me, and that's definitely a podcast that could use your support, folks. We're all going through tough times, and as far as communities that give back and are good for the community, I'm just a silly betting show, folks. Like that podcast has got a good community that's worth contributing to. James Kendrick has a But Why for Piss Poor Fight IQ, Jin Karasu. I like that. But why? That's a really creative one. I like that, Jin Karasu. We're definitely doing that. But why? Piss Poor Fight IQ. I had a similar phrase one, and I can't remember what that that award was now. Makatsu Kaigoku, Best Chinese Fighter of the Year award. Even though, the people who got mad at Cain Velasquez's brown pride tattoo will probably get a similar crowd getting mad at us, but that's obviously not our crowd, folks. And for that reason, I would definitely even more love to embrace that award, just because, why not? Best Chinese Fighter of the Year. And we can get creative with it, we can give it to like Peter Yan or like, Kevin Lee, Fantasy Chinese Fight League, just like, the Fantasy Jewish Fight League with Semmelsberger, Rosenstruck. So no, we can both be funny and serious with that award. So what was that? 5 from the regular awards. We have 6 for you guys, right? I added about 3 betting and 2 podcasts. I'll probably try to round it out. I'll try to keep it to maybe 10 there. So 6, 10, that's 15. And then the only 3, these are actually originals from when I actually tried to do neckies like years ago. So I'm going to kind of keep consistent. And I didn't go look at all the categories, but some of them that were, I just remember were classic necky categories were Heartbreak of the Year and Feel Good Moment of the Year. I think those are really good ones. So we're definitely doing Heartbreak of the Year. We're definitely doing Feel Good Moment of the Year. And I wrote another one. This is Dan Tom's most disrespected fighter of the year. Maybe that could be redundant considering I tend to go contrarian and use my fighter of the year to give who the most disrespected is. Maybe that isn't the same. I don't know, but that is one I'm throwing around as well. So any suggestions, throw my way. We're definitely going to keep, I definitely want to try to keep it to around 15. We're definitely being under 20, but around 15 is my goal. We're already kind of almost there, to be honest. So it's more just whittling it down. Both because it's listener contributions and because you guys have genuinely good contributions. I'm keeping your guys in some shape or form, and you guys will have a first dibs as far as what to say. So it probably won't be till the beginning of the year when I hit you with that recap little pseudo award show, but I do want to give you guys something. I am working with something with a guest, but if you guys want to contribute the categories, that's what we have so far. And now if James Kendrick or one of you guys don't beat me to it, which you probably will, but if not, it's totally cool. I'll probably do it. Maybe I might comment what we have to keep tabs under this video too, to have another place to keep comment sections. All right, gonna get out of here. Last of the chat before we get out. Ghosts, James recording these for you is quite cool. Shouts to him. Absolutely, that was a huge help. He saved me some prep time on the podcast today, actually. So thank you, James Kendrick. Again, I don't deserve you guys, man, and that is part of the reason why I want to do better and do more. And even though you guys would be totally understanding for the breaks that I take, it's also why I don't like to do it, because I want to give you guys content. You guys are just so key to me, and if for whatever reason, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, if I have become a key part of your entertainment and weekly visit, I want to respect that, because I do not take that for granted. I am so grateful for that. I am so grateful for this. I am so grateful for everything. Please don't get it twisted. I know I can come off like a complaining cunt sometimes, and I apologize if I do. It's not my intention. I'm very grateful for this, for you guys. I wish you guys nothing but the best. I know it's been a rough year. I'm just gonna look to survive this holidays and New Year's without family and the normal friends. Gonna go roll tomorrow for some pre-Christmas Eve rolls, at least, so I can see my gym friends. At least that'll be nice. Get on the mats. Did some hot yoga yesterday to try to get back on my workout grind. I'm just gonna keep doing that, man. I'm just gonna keep grinding, Don't have the betting results to post. Don't have the dramatic low weight and flexing photos with the beach behind me or trips that I was planning. And I lost all these opportunities this year, which is fine. We're gonna make up for it next year. As much as I didn't want to say that, as much as it's not as fun to have something to flex in the show, I don't know. I got you guys, man. I got my dogs. I got this. I got what's left in my health, and which is a lot, and I'm grateful for it. So I'm super grateful. I love you guys. I wish you guys the best year. Please reach out to your loved ones, friends, family if you have them. If you don't, my line's always open. Looks like I'll have some free time. I don't know if I can be like the Jared Gordon savior out there, but what he does promote for all the reasons is really important. Whether you struggle with the drug addictions or whatever, or just like myself, and you struggle with the seasonal blues, it's biological. You have the depressions or whatever else. Or you're just going through a tough time and a tough year, which I can relate to on some levels. We're not all different. Some people have crazier things that I could not comprehend dealing with, but if I can be a friend, if I can help in any way, hopefully this was a help. And love you guys. Have a great year. Those are pretty good, Dan. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ghost. Have a great end of the year. Have a safe New Year's, safe holidays, whatever you guys celebrate. And always protect your neck.